I've been living in Italy for 8 years, and I still get asked the same question all the time. What is it really like living in Italy? Well, I can tell you, it is definitely not like the movies. Yes, there are definitely stunning landscapes, delicious wine and food, and long, leisurely lunches. But there's also low salaries, expensive rent, and certain people who won't be particularly happy that you're here. So, if you're thinking about moving to Italy, let's talk about what it's actually like. Living in Italy is incredible, but living in Italy is extremely different from vacationing in Italy. So if you're considering making the move, here's 5 things I think you need to know before you do. Do I need to learn Italian to move to Italy? If you think you can get by with just English, well, technically you can, but your social circle will be limited to just other expats, and your interactions with local Italians will be limited to ordering coffee and asking for the check. Not only do Italians appreciate when foreigners try to speak the language, especially people who are moving here on a semi-permanent or permanent basis, but without the language, you'll always feel like an outsider. Plus, it is incredibly necessary to navigate Italian bureaucracy. While English is pretty widespread in popular cities like Rome, people who are working in social services and healthcare don't tend to speak as much English as people who are working in tourism. Something I think that a lot of people don't know about Italy is that the salaries here are much, much lower than you will find in the United States. While here in Italy, a good job might pay what a entry-level salary might pay in the US, salaries have remained stagnant in Italy since the 90s. And it is incredibly common for Italians, even in Rome, to take home less than 2,000 euros per month. And that would be considered a pretty good salary. And this is why you find that many Italians live at home well into their 30s. It's not just a cultural norm, it's a financial necessity. When it comes to the cost of living, on paper, Italy is more affordable than the US. Lower rent, cheaper groceries, free healthcare. But in big cities like where I live in Rome or Milan, different story. In the big cities, rent has skyrocketed. I just recently did a search on one of the rental websites here in Rome, and a 1-bedroom apartment is going for a minimum of 1,000 euros per month, but honestly closer to 1.2 to 1.6K per month. And as previously mentioned, the wages have not kept up. So while yes, Italy can be affordable and you can live more comfortably with less money here due to a lot of the social services, a lot of the places that you're seeing on social media are actually not that affordable to live in. And just like any place, you're gonna encounter people who are not so glad to have foreigners living in their country. For me, I am an Italian citizen and I have an Italian last name, so I definitely encounter less of this, but I have over these 8 years for sure encountered some xenophobia from locals. Most people are lovely, but you may run into the occasional person who doesn't like foreigners, especially if you don't speak Italian. It's not everyone, but it does happen. One thing no one tells you about moving to Italy, or moving to any foreign country for that matter, is that if you make friends with other English speakers, other expats, these people will oftentimes be transient, so people come and go. Lots of people move to Italy with big dreams and then realize it's not exactly what they thought it would be and end up moving home or somewhere else. So you'll make new friends, you'll get super close, and then they move away. It's part of the experience, but it honestly doesn't ever get easier, and you have to be okay with constantly putting yourself out there and making new friends. I get a lot of questions about how to make friends as an expat living abroad. If that's of interest to you, let me know in the comments and I can do a separate video about how I have been able to consistently make new friends over these past 8 years. So, is moving to Italy worth it? For me, I can tell you, regardless of all of the things that I just mentioned in this video, 100,000,000% yes. It is definitely not always a under the Tuscan sun fantasy, and for me to have been able to get to the point that I am now, where I have my own business and I'm able to do the creative things that I love to do, it has been a process, and I've done a lot of jobs and been underpaid for them for many, many years. If I had stayed in the US, I'd probably be making triple what I'm making now. If I had stuck to a traditional corporate career path in marketing, I'd probably be some high-powered marketing executive in a big corporation. But would I be happier? Honestly, I don't think I've ever been happier than I am in this very moment. So if you're thinking about making the move, just know it's beautiful, it's frustrating, it's exhilarating, it's terrifying, all at the same time. But if you really want it, you have to go for it because it's totally worth it. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below and give this video a big thumbs up. And be sure to follow me on my social channels for daily updates from life in the Eternal City. See you in my next one. Ciao!